Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? AK here. Now, this time I decided that I'm going to start a new series for reviewing a variety of model kits and figurines. And I'll probably mainly focus on dinosaur related stuff or prehistoric related stuff, but mostly dinosaurs, because dinosaurs are the ones that I'm kind of more knowledgeable with, but I can do other stuff as well. I can obviously try to expand it. And of course some other kits in regards to fantasy from various other manufacturers, and historical stuff as well. So I think it will be a really fun and exciting journey, and I think of no better way to start this series than with PAPO ANKYLOSAURUS. Now, overall, my score of PAPO ANKYLOSAURUS figurine came down to 4.3, and these ones I have based on overall 6 main qualities. So, first one is overall awesomeness, which I gave it 5 out of 5 because, let's be honest, it's a really awesome figure. It looks great. It's spectacular, and was one of my main actually decision-making factors for purchasing it. But that's not the only one. Now then, we have the next one, which is the paint job, basically the quality of the paint job itself, which I gave it about 4.5, because overall it's very nicely done. I would, however, probably add a bit more depth in some areas, like on the osteoderms, for example, on top, some of the spikes and stuff, you know, they felt a little bit one-dimensional, and I thought maybe they could have improved that part a little bit. Now, the next one is the quality of the sculpt, which I personally gave it 5 out of 5, because, let's be honest, it's phenomenal. It's really nicely detailed, it's got all of these little nitty-picky details in there, and it's just, for the figure of this size as well, it's really great, and I just couldn't, I could not give it any lower grade than that, so I think it deserves a 5 out of 5. Now, the accuracy is a different story altogether, and that one gave, well, I gave it 2.5 out of 5. And the major factor to that was that it only vaguely resembles an ankylosaurid as such. It's got a club tail, it's got armor, it's got the armored protected skull with these two, horns sticking out. Well, they're not really horns, they're basically just like big spiky thingamajiggy, whatever. But on the other side of the skull, so one that's that's above the eye and the one that's below the eye, and they're usually stuck slightly towards the back. But general shape of the skull is quite consistent, but not quite Ankylosaurus. I would probably say that it doesn't really make me believe it's a true Ankylosaurus, as in the Ankylosaurus magniventris. But I really still think it's alright, but the problem is not that. My main problems were to do with the overall proportions, the body proportions. The body plan is not really how Ankylosaurids were built. It doesn't have that tanky barrel sort of big massive body. The armor itself of Ankylosaurus is laid out completely different. It doesn't actually have these kind of spiky things. It's not particularly popular for Ankylosaurids in general, but specifically Ankylosaurus magniventris, according to the latest revision at the time of making this video, does not have this kind of armor layout. But the paint job itself, however, is very plausible. This is something I always personally favor on my calculator when it comes to accuracy, which is very nicely earthly, conservative approach to it, rather than a very bright colored, almost, I don't know, crazy kind of bright acidic or whatever, red colors, purple, stuff like that. It's just orange. No, that bright yellow is not really my thing either. I mean, I just don't believe that's how they looked. I mean, there is really no way to tell other than just looking at their environment, and sometimes you can argue that you could probably have some of them that are still bright, but then again, it wouldn't be that bright. Some people argue that giraffes are big, but they are bright, but not really bright. They're actually fairly, fairly laid back. There's a pattern, true, but there is no such thing as total brightness there. Most of the animals that are big, they don't tend to display these kind of really bright and vibrant colors as much as I've seen sometimes being portrayed. And this figure, in my opinion, actually nails it in that sense. So that was one of my major kind of contributing factors to why I gave it 2.5 rather than any lower than that, because it's not really scientifically accurate, let's be honest. Availability, I gave it 5 out of 5. It's very widely available. It's really easy to find right now, and you will probably have no problem. You will probably have no problem finding one for yourself. However, well, it really depends where you live. I mean, for somebody who lives in the UK, I can definitely say there's pretty much any other website that you go on where they sell these things, you can buy them. And interestingly enough, the best prices usually they tend to be on either European sites or in many ways also UK, everything Dinosaur. If they have one available, you might want to get one from there if you are in the UK. If you're in Europe, then obviously try to look for European sites. And I'm pretty sure there are many United States and Canadian sites where you can find ones. Now, cost is also a very important thing, and for what it's worth, I would give it roughly, I think, well, it's 4 out of 5, because, I mean, it would have been worth it a lot more if it was actually even accurate, you know, if it was more true to the actual Ankylosaurus. So otherwise it's quite cheap, and which is why it earned 4 points, because it's only about, I think it's in the range of 8 to 10 pounds sterling, which is not too expensive for a figure. I mean, it's kind of iffy, but it's not too much, actually. It's actually quite good. Some of the figures of PAPO, unfortunately, are pretty damn dear, but this one is actually very good in that sense. It's very nice and modest, which earned it a cost rating of 4 out of 5. Now, to bring you back, you know, to kind of summarize, once again, the total score for Ankylosaurus made by PAPO is 4.3 out of 5. So, if you like this video, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, if you want me to make more of these kind of videos, please make sure you leave a like, you subscribe, and leave a comment, share your thoughts. Let me know, do you want to buy this figure, do you already have it? Have you considered repainting it, or do you like it as it is? Just share your thoughts about Ankylosaurus made by PAPO. Thank you very much. Rex out.